Hello, everyone. Marjorie Roman here, and we have the pleasure and honor to have Coach Dan Olsen to teach us more about growing our business. Thank you so much for coming over today.
Thank you, Coach Marjorie. You're a great coach to me. I appreciate you so much, and I'm grateful for your coaching and for your questions that help me think through some of these awesome things that we're going to share today.
Oh, thank you so much. And truly, it's because the world of franchising and businesses and getting into them, it's so wonderful that I just want to make sure that all of our audience gets to know as much as they can so they can open their very first business and be successful at it. So today we're going to talk about the ceiling and the floor. So from like just the point of view of the corporate world, when you're in a certain position, I know that there's only so much that you can grow. But once you reach the ceiling, that's just as much as you can do. You cannot go past that. But why do you love the fact that franchises allows you to grow as much as you want?
I love it because there's no limit. You can be your own CEO. How many of us could be a CEO in a corporation? I've been a CEO, and it's no big deal. It's okay. I mean, sure, there's great opportunities to succeed there, and recognition, and you've been able to help a lot of people. But how many of us really can be a CEO of a big corporation that we start working for? It's not many of. There's only room for at the top for so many. And then still, as a CEO, you're most likely, unless you own the whole company, you're reporting to a board of directors. So you've still got people you got to report to. And so you really still don't have all that freedom. At least that's been my experience in the corporate world. Where in the franchise world, it's unlimited. You become your CEO. You can build to whatever extent you want. For example, I have a friend of mine years ago. He was working at Walmart, and he was happily there at Walmart, but he knew he needed something different. He wanted to excel and move forward with his own business. So we got him started in his own franchise, and he got one location open while he was still working at Walmart, and he was starting to see some success with that location. And pretty soon he decided to open up a second location. He opened up a second one. And by the time he got his second one opened up and it started producing the income he expected, he was able to quit his job at Walmart and move forward.
Wow.
And then he got his third, fourth, fifth, up until he had 12 locations open in 5 years and had a business that's worth a tremendous amount of money and had all that cash flow coming in, all these employees and people working for him. He controlled it. He called the shots. He was his own CEO. He was unlimited in what he could do. And of course, in 5 years, rather than looking at that retirement plan he had at Walmart, in 5 years, he had a program that far exceeded what his retirement plan could have been at Walmart for working for those next 5 years, or even 15 years, or even 20 years. He had the ability to have a retirement plan that would set him and his family up for what they needed in their life.
That's right. And in the corporate world, if you wanted to become a CEO, or even if you wanted to just become the next available position up on the ladder, there's so many requirements, so many things that you need to do. Sometimes you may need to increase your workload. Sometimes you may need to do extra things in order to qualify. Not even get it, just qualify. And even to get it, you still have to go through these big process. But the beauty of having your own business and being an entrepreneur is that you are the CEO of your success. You're the one that drives it. Now, also, one of the things with the ceiling is that you don't have a ceiling when it comes to franchises because you can keep growing your business as much as you want. So what are some of the ways that you can scale your business within the franchise world?
Well, that's the beauty of it. Everybody is equal in the franchise world. There's a CEO, and of course there's leadership of the franchise company, but all your fellow franchisees are equal to you. So there's no really, when you talk about a pyramid, corporations are the ultimate pyramid where there's only so much room at the top. With franchising, you're all equal. You have the ability to succeed just like the other guy, even bigger. Plus, the other thing is you have the help of the other guy, and they're interested in your success, and you don't have a lot of the corporate mentality that goes on because there's that entrepreneurship, there's that teamwork, there's the ability to team up with people and partner that allows you to be more successful in other things. But what I like about it is the equality, that anybody can succeed when they follow the system and they have that mentorship to help them get to where they need to be. Because you're not alone in the franchise system. You're always going to have that help that you need and support that you need to make sure you're successful. So as far as unlimited or the ceiling, there's really no ceiling. I was talking to a guy just yesterday who is teamed up with a group of people that have over 200 franchises. I mean, that's as big as any company around with that much location. So even if they're doing X amount of dollars per year in sales, you multiply that by 200.
Oof.
That's a big company. And that's just one franchisee and his team that owns all that. So the ceiling is unlimited. And there's a step-by-step process to get there through the mentorship that you have through a franchise.
That's right. Because in the case of franchises, there are many ways that you can grow your business. For example, you can have multiple locations, or you can have multiple brands even, or maybe you can have multiple territories if you were to be an area representative. Can you explain more about those ways that we can scale our business within a franchise?
Yeah, exactly what you said. I mean, sometimes when you start out, I wouldn't suggest getting out into multiple brands in the beginning. I would start with one brand, focus on that brand. We talk about the success principle of focusing. When we focus on that one thing and make sure that it's done with that laser-like focus and it's successful, then we go on to the next franchise, laser-like focus, we get into that, it's successful, move on to the next franchise, usually within that brand. And then what happens is we start getting that brand developed. Maybe there's not enough room for you to succeed and have a lot of other territory in that area because it's succeeded so well. So then what you do is at that point is a good time to maybe consider another brand outside of the territory. So it could be a service business, and now next time you consider a food business, but usually you consider something that's a little bit related. So as you focus through that and you get those other brands, that's the way to succeed. Now, the other thing that happens when you have multiple brands is you've got accounting systems, you've got HR systems, you have legal systems and other services that those franchisees and those franchise company or your franchise locations need. If you can put, and marketing especially, if you can put it all together and get some buying power together, even above and beyond what the franchisor has given to you, then it allows you to use those services with all the different franchises. So when you get to that point, that mini empire, and have several brands out there like I do, I have several brands, I can consolidate a lot of that work and save a lot of time and money. And then I've proved my systems that will work with just about any franchise. So to get to that point is so much fun to see different brands. And the other thing that's fun about it, if you have several different brands, you've got this food brand over here. Okay, we're going to go here for food. Or you got this service brand over here. We're going to go over and use our service. You can use your own company for the services or the products that you want to have in your family. It's your own company that you get to go to as you get big enough.
That's right. In fact, actually, one of my friends, he is a friend of my family, and he actually owns a franchise business that does repairs on appliances, like home appliances. And he said, you know what, Marjorie, you should get into the world of franchises because literally my range in my kitchen just broke. And all I had to do was just to call my manager on my branch and be like, hey, can you send me your best guy to repair my range? Let's have him scheduled and everything else. And he had this one person coming over to his house and repair his range. And he was like, it was like having my range repaired for free. Yeah. Because it came out of the many dollars of income that I keep receiving just from this one single unit franchise.
You know, that's a good point. And over the years, as I've worked with advertising franchises especially, and I'm working with a couple others right now that do advertising, what can happen is you go out, these franchisees, they go out and actually sell advertising and marketing services to businesses to help increase their business. Mm-hmm. But the other thing that happens is you can actually trade. If you see a dentist, I'll go sell the dentist this program, but I'll trade for his services. So that way you can, his costs are reduced, your costs are reduced, you trade for services, or a plumber or a food place or whatever. You have built up all these trades that cost you nothing. because you've already built up that relationship and you traded for it. So just like you're talking about with the range, the advertising franchises really have an advantage that way because they can get just about anything they want through trade on their advertising programs.
That's right, because as a franchise owner, as a business owner, you have so many ways to leverage and negotiate with other business owners within the area to obtain certain services as well. And also to have like a win-win relationship at that point, because both of you guys would be benefit from these relationships. Now, let's talk about the floor, because we were talking about the ceiling, now the floor. When it comes to the floor, it sounds to me more like the area where you're working with your employees. In the corporate world, when you see your managers, when you see the CEOs, all of those people that are above you, they are not always the same as your fellow buddies that are on the same level as you. Sometimes the treatment can be a little bit different. But in the case of franchises, I've seen that that's not the case. Even the CEOs, even like the owner himself, I've seen how they go on the floor with the employees and they work with them even. Can you tell us some experiences on you working along the side of your employees?
Yeah, I think it's a good leadership trait when a franchisee will work side by side. Now, you don't have to be there all the time. And I'm not there I have single unit franchises, I have master franchise, I have different franchises, but and also I do a lot of consulting, so I'm a pretty busy guy, but I'm excited to do it. But sometimes when I go into one of my single unit franchises, like today or last night, we received a new piece of equipment in, and I had two of my people in there pulling apart the packaging and getting the piece of equipment out. I got the honor and privilege of going in there with them, helping to unpackage and cut the plastic wrap around it and take out this new piece of equipment, which we were all excited to get. And I got to enjoy that with my employees and help that process. Now, I can tell you there's a huge difference in the success and failure of businesses depending on how you treat those employees, whether it's an unaffiliated business or whether it's your franchise. But franchises have a tendency to help train you and give you programs and systems to follow. But for example, I remember owning a service type business where these employees were in there working and they needed some help. They needed some recognition. They needed a little bit of time. But I could go into one franchise where another owner owned it, and I could see up on the bulletin board in the back, where they have their break rooms and things like that, they had, "You guys screwed up last night. You didn't do this. You forgot to turn this alarm on, or you forgot to turn this light off," and all this stuff. Where you saw that type of treating the employees, guess what happened to the sales on that business? It was
probably
down.
Went down.
Exactly. Yeah. But I could go in the same franchise, same brand, down the street. I could go into another one and I could walk in the back of the room and I could see that bulletin board. It was a bulletin board back then. Sometimes they still have bulletin boards around rather than all digital stuff. And you can see little papers and things up there. Congratulations on this and congratulations on the baby or whatever. But it's the one where it said, "Here's our goal." And, "Hey, you guys almost made it. We just came within, or we did it, or we did that. Congratulations to everybody. Congratulations to so-and-so. You're awesome." When you have that type of attitude in the franchise or any business, guess what happened to that sales volume? It continued to go up. So there's a difference in how you treat people, and franchise companies have those programs in place. They better have, because that's how they've succeeded in the past. So those are part of the systems. And guess what? Customer service can be trained. It's not something that's just all about the person. Sure, you want to start with a good, solid person as an employee, but it can be trained.
That's right. And it's funny how you mentioned it can be trained, because I actually had a couple of friends back in college that they were starting to work in Chick-fil-A, and one of my roommates actually, she was like, "Man, I am a really nice person, I swear, but I get nervous talking to people. I don't even know what to tell them." But the cool thing is that as soon as she started working there, she was like, "You're not gonna believe this." The owner himself, he came up with a little script that he printed on a little piece of paper and he gave it to all of us. So we would say a certain amount of sentences such as "Welcome to this branch. How can I help you?" Or tiny little things. And she was like, for me, being someone that is not as outgoing, it was so great that there was already a system that I could use so I could reach out to people. Now I do it every day and it's become a normal trait for me. So yes, quite a bit of traits such as like a really good customer service. Yes, it can be trained. Of course, the person has to be like a really nice person, really friendly. And it doesn't matter if you're not the most outgoing one, that can also be trained. Now, when it comes also to being a really good business owner, what are some other traits that you would recommend us to start working on?
To become a real business owner, there's a lot. What I look at is when you do business with different people, or even a business owner, or even a potential franchisee that we grant franchises to, we look for a lot of qualities. I mean, let me ask you this question. Would you rather do business with someone who cares, who is kind, who is friendly, who is happy, who is honest, has integrity? Or would you rather do business with someone who's uncaring, who's unkind, stretches the truth, doesn't have integrity, doesn't show up on time, is not punctual? Which one would you rather do business with?
Sign me up with the first one.
So, I mean, sometimes we know that the money's over there and we'll put up with those type of qualities. But generally speaking, what we want to train for is we want to train people to have those qualities. We want people that have gratitude. We want people that are enthusiastic and are excited about what they're involved with, that they can become in your program and they can be a brand champion and they can praise your program. I mean, I was talking to a flight attendant the other day, even on the airlines. She was ecstatic about being a flight attendant. She's done it for 10 years or whatever the number was, but she was excited to be about the company. She was promoting the company. She promotes the company, how great it is on her social media. And so when you have an employee or a person that is excited about what they do and is that brand champion, and those qualities are evident of the enthusiasm and gratitude and things like that, that's the type of people you want. And those are the types of things I think more franchisors and businesses should train their employees on how to be more gracious, how to be more patient, how to be more kind, how to have that integrity. Those are the types of things that make a difference in the business, along, of course, with the marketing and the systems and things that are already in place.
That's right. And thank you so much again, Dan. And there you have it. To all our audience that are listening to this podcast, you would be surprised on how much of an impact your attitude as a leader of your own business can be, because you can generate crazy changes, beautiful, amazing changes into your business and how it operates just by having a better attitude, by being a great leader, and by making sure that your employees are really happy working and they just love it to come to work at your business. Thank you so much again, Dan, and thank you to our audience. We're going to see you in the next episode. Bye-bye.
You're awesome. Thank you.